Hi everyone, welcome to Dhamma Loves Dose of Dhamma. This is your dose of Dhamma for today. So, in this talk, we will go into a little bit more detail into the quality of swakato or swakata, well spoken. In swakata, the Dhamma, do you guys remember? The Dhamma refers to the four paths, the four fruitions, and Nibbana, and the Pariyati. So why is the Pariyati Dhamma, the theoretical knowledge, Buddha teaching, the Dhamma, why is it excellent in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end? Hmm? There are many ways to understand this actually, according to some of the ways that we observe from reading the commentary. So it can be understood in many ways. Hmm? That's why it's very profound sometimes. Let us see in what ways can we understand about the Pariyati Dhamma. Why is it excellent? The, the beginning, the middle, and the end, and see how we can apply it when we are chanting or when you are recollecting about the qualities of the Dhamma. Hmm? It is excellent in the beginning, middle, and end because it is perfect in meaning and in words, and also because it proclaims the threefold teaching, the threefold training, Sila Samadhi and the Arya path, the noble path, as the pure and complete way of practice. It is also perfect because within the stanza, within a single stanza, whether it's a single first one line, two line, three line, or fourth line, it is perfect. Okay? And in a discourse, when the Buddha is giving a discourse, it has an introduction that makes it perfect in the beginning. It has conclusion that makes it perfect at the end. And also in the middle part, the juicy part, it has all its logical connections between various points, which makes it perfect. So this is also one way that we can understand about the perfection of the Dhamma. And that's why it is well spoken. Okay, this is for the Suttanta Pitaka, for the suttas, the discourses of the Buddha. In another way, in the Sutta Pitaka and the Vinaya Pitaka means the collections of or the baskets. Pitakas are called baskets. So the baskets of the training rules. This is the Vinaya Pitakas. So in the Sutta and the Vinaya Pitakas, all of the discourses mention the place where the event took place in the beginning. That's why it is perfection in the beginning, and the compatibility of the discourse matching with the natural bent of the listeners at that particular occasion, and the incontrovertible truth contained in the meaning of the discourse, the substance of it, the content of it makes the middle perfect. And the benefit gained by the audience through their faith and conviction, the proper conclusion of the theme also makes the end perfect. That's why it is called Swakato. And also, we can also understand it in another way. The whole of the Pariyati Dhamma, comprising of the three Pitakas, essentially proclaim Sila, morality, Samadhi, concentration, and Panya, uh, Vipassana, wisdom, Magga, path, Phala, fruition, and Nibbana. They proclaim the true Buddha, the true Dhamma, and the true Sangha. Okay, and in the Pariyati Dhamma, the teachings of the Buddha, they prescribe the noble and correct practice that leads to noblehood or Pachika Buddhahood or enlightenment as a disciple. So we can understand that the three Pitakas have the intrinsic excellence in the beginning in morality, the intrinsic excellence of the middle in concentration and insight wisdom, and the intrinsic excellence at the end in Nibbana. So, this is one way that we can understand too why the Dhamma is Swakato, is well spoken. And also in another way, they are excellent in the beginning by declaring the true Buddha, excellent in the middle by declaring the true Dhamma, and excellent at the end by declaring the true Sangha. And anyone who can take up the practice shown in the Dhamma, shown in the Pariyati Dhamma, they can attain any of the three types of enlightenment, whether it's a Samma Sambuddha enlightenment, that means to become a fully enlightened Buddha, or Pachika Buddhahood, or arahantship through a disciple, like that. That's why it is. That's why it is the well spoken, like that. So the Buddha's teaching requires the disciples to take two steps. The first is for the disciples to listen attentively with a certain faith, and the second is to take up the practice of the Dhamma. When the above steps are taken in their order and the proper practice done, a disciple attains arahantship. Therefore, in listening to the Dhamma, if you have the ultimate objective of arahantship, you gain the knowledge of what has been heard, Suttamaya Jnana. Okay? And then after that, by paying good attention to the doctrine that is excellent in the beginning, if you take up the practice after repeatedly listen to it, then you get a calm that comes with concentration. And then if you continue to practice, you will gain insight into phenomena which gives you peace and satisfaction. Therefore, the practice of the Dhamma is excellent in the middle. And then, since proper practice leads to arahantship, the result of the practice is excellent at the end. That's why in this way, the Dhamma is excellent beginning, in the middle, and end. That is why it is really, really acclaimed as Swakato, well spoken. So very wonderful to have all these explanations. But of course, there are many, many other explanations in this. It will be very long to explain them in all. So I will briefly go through. Okay. So the next one is the Noble Dharma is excellent because when they are expounded, they fulfill the 10 important rules of the enunciation of words. Okay, that means when they are reciting. So this also helps. This is also why the Dhamma is a Swakata. And also the Dhamma expounded by the Buddha is perfect. That's why it's Swakato. Because it contains the 5 qualities: morality, concentration, wisdom, liberation, and insight leading to liberation. There is no essential thing or no other pure element to add to it. And it is well spoken because there is nothing that is harmful and is to be discarded. So don't discard the teachings of the Buddha, right? Okay? And it has no trace of the defiling things such as wrong view or conceit, but is purely productive of the liberation from the woeful rounds of existence. So if you are learning the Dhamma and you find that you are getting more and more defilements, something must be wrong. Not with the Dhamma, but maybe with our mind or the attitude that we approach it, or some attachments or some defilements. So it is not the fault of the Dhamma. It is our result of the unmindfulness on our side. Okay? So that is why, with all these explanations, that's why the Buddha's Dhamma is Swakato, well spoken. Okay, so how do we use it? There's so many meaning, Bante. How do we apply it in our chanting? It's very easy. Just take one. There's so many points, right? Just take one. For example, Swakata. Then you can immediately remember, excellent teaching. Or when you recite Swakato or Swakata, then you can remember Maggaphala and Nibbana. And Maggaphala and Nibbana is excellent. It's well spoken. Or when you recite Swakato, you can remember, the 3 trainings, which results in arahantship. That's why it is well spoken. Wonderful. Then in that you feel inspired, select the one that you feel inspired. And then after that, when you recite it, then you use a simple phrase word as a representative of that whole meaning that you understand now through this short sharing. Then after that, just when you recite Swakato, the understanding and the keyword just comes to mind. That is how, when we are chanting, we can use this kind of recollection to deepen our concentration actually, and to ward off distractions, and actually to gain more inspiration in the chanting or in the recollection of the Dhamma. Alright? Yeah. So very wonderful. That's why it is Swakato. Okay, so hopefully today's sharing is helpful for all of you. Wish all of you well, peaceful, and happy, and able to practice this Swakata Dhamma, well spoken Dhamma. And finally, may the Triple Gem bless all of us to be able to attain path, fruition, and Nibbana as soon as possible. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.